We are back, and this is kind of the A-team right here. This is the A-team, the Sunday night crew that we usually have with us, but this is not officially an A-team episode. This is a special features episode because we haven't technically started the season yet. And with us tonight, we have defensive coordinator Brian Bergstrom, who's now this is his second appearance, I believe, back on the show. Thanks for coming back, Coach. We didn't scare you off. So how are you?
You bet. I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm doing great. We just had practice 10 yesterday, and can't wait to get started here with the third week of camp, really.
Okay. Well, before we get into too much of what's going on with the defense right now, got to thank a couple sponsors. Chad, do you want to talk about Kubota for us?
Yeah, the first thing I did when I got back from vacation today was hop on my Kubota and mow that lawn because the rain has not stopped. And that thing will plow through, I promise, it'll plow through 6.5-inch grass. I might as well get a baler and put it behind that thing and start making bales because goodness sakes. But it's got the power, and Kubota's got anything you need. So if you need some yard equipment or if you need some heavy-duty construction equipment or some farm equipment, see your area Kubota dealers. Kubota dealers in South Dakota, and the one down in southeast or northeast Iowa is a proud sponsor of this show. So thank you, Kubota.
All right, there we go. Also got to thank Northwestern Mutual of Sioux Falls, Chris Schinkel and his crew. They've been with us for a few years now. Thank you, Chris. We are excited to be working with them again for the Alex's Lemonade stand. And once the SDSU's ambassador is announced, we are going to back that individual with the full force of a bag full of pudding shots. Every Saturday we're in Brookings and make sure that the SDSU representative comes out on top again. But if you need any life insurance needs or you're investing for retirement or saving for your kids' college, get a hold of Chris and his crew down in Sioux Falls, Northwestern Mutual, and they will get you what you need. So there we go. We got two of our reads out of the way, Coach. We're very grateful for our sponsors that are bringing you to us today. And I just want to say, I was in practice. I was at practice on Wednesday, and it was a shell day and just helmets and shoulder pads. And this was the day after Matt Zimmer wrote his article that practice had looked a little lackluster, according to Dan. You got into them after you guys had your snack break or recovery period. Sorry. And then the intensity kicked up. So I didn't know what to expect when I walked into practice that day on Wednesday. And it was very intense for just the helmet and shoulder pads. There were a number of scuffles. The guys are ready to hit someone else, it appears. And we still have a few weeks to go here. So I was overall really impressed with both the offense and the defense. It felt like at different times, whether it's the one-on-ones or team, the defense was controlling what was happening. And then the next time out, offense would control what was happening. So I'm excited about that. What are you seeing from your defense at this point?
Well, I would agree with you. I think that in order for us to be the best team that we can be, we have to practice at a really, really high level and a really, really competitive level. And I think that's certainly what you saw when you're at practice. And I think the other mark of a team that is going to be the best that it can be is that it's a balanced team. And I would agree. It's been a good back and forth camp and I probably have a better perspective of that now the second time here, having been a head coach, and I see the value in each side bringing each other up. And I'm certainly thankful for our offense because the look that we're able to go against every day is a challenging one, and they're talented and well coached, and they play really hard and do things that are hard to prepare for. And I'm confident that our defense does that for them too. But I would agree, high intensity, competitive. We can't wait to play somebody else, but we still have a lot of work to do here in the next couple of weeks.
Sure. Okay, so this week I did wrap up the preview series for the defensive position groups. We did offense last week, and then we had Coach Eisnes with us last Sunday night. If you haven't watched that, go back and watch it tomorrow. Listen to it. he's forgotten more about offense than Dallas Chad or myself will learn. That was an awesome conversation.
Hold up, Matt,
now we're
Matt, don't skip over. Yeah, don't skip over plugging your breakdowns, by the way, because there's a lot of people I think that watch and listen that don't necessarily go to the blog. So if anybody is listening and you've not checked these out, go to jackrabbit.illustrated.com, click on the blog. Matt does a position group by position group breakdown that's as good as you're going to find anywhere. Talks to all the different position coaches, goes through from projected starters in through what maybe to expect out of the young guys coming in. But I just wanted to make sure we don't gloss over that, Matt.
Yeah, thank you. I try to write about every single player because you guys know I love roster building. So it's fun to learn about those depth pieces too. So yeah, but Coach, when I did the linebacker preview, folks noted that Coach Busikist had told me that the Mike and the Will be pretty interchangeable this year. So that's leading to a lot of people to see, hey, are we switching to a 4-2-5? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, you bet. There's a ton of similarities in what people would call a 4-3 defense or a 4-2-5 defense. And, structurally, you have to look at, are your outside linebackers, so what we would call the Sam and the Will, are they totally mirrored players? Are they the same body type you're looking for in both spots? And to some extent, yes, they have to be mirrored in how you handle motion and things of that nature. But you can align your Sam linebacker to the field or to the passing strength, and the Will linebacker into the boundary, and which is what we have done for a lot of years here. When people talk more about a 4-2-5, then they're saying that the Mike and the Will are more the same, always in the box, and they do everything to keep the Sam out of the box. They're very similar. The reality is we want to get the best players on the field, and it's players over plays, players over scheme. And as much as we can make two positions similar to each other, so there's some similarities between the Will and the Sam in a 4-3 defense. Just really wherever you are, there's probably good similarities. But there's also similarities with the Will and the Mike, with the amount of time they spend in the box. So what we're trying to do is cross teach as many guys as we can to know more than one, because then if somebody gets hurt, we're able to then maybe plug and play guys and be able to play our best guys. So I think more than anything, it's just maybe verbiage. We're doing the same thing that we have tried to do here for a long time, which is get our best players on the field so we can play fast and physical. And in order to do that, you got to keep it sound and simple, and then do it together. And I think that this group's doing a really good job of it. And you can tell that the brotherhood is motivated by love of the guy next to them to be the best that they can be.
Mm-hmm. Great. All right. So, Chad, go ahead.
Speaking of brotherhood, I just wanted to give you a shout out for your awesome lid there. I love the Trees JFPA logo. That's pretty awesome. I think Knutson and some of the guys came up with that years ago, and I've always loved that one. So it's pretty cool hat that you got going there. Pretty special logo, pretty special group, pretty special family that it stems from, and the brotherhood is real here.
Yep.
Can I, Matt?
So I'm just checking right now. Go ahead.
Before we jump in and go group by group, can I ask one general question here?
Yeah.
It was interesting, Bergy, to hear you talk about cross training the linebacker group to make sure that you can just always have the best three on the field at any given time, because that's exactly what Coach Eisner said about the offensive line. And there's probably a lot of similarities there. And anyway, that got my mind thinking there can be a lot of different identities of an offense or a defense on a team. And I think a lot of the fan base will always look at the 605 Hogs as being a huge part of the identity of the offense. So this is kind of a question for, when you left to where things look now, do you see a shift in this defense of maybe what the identity would have been when you left versus what the identity or focus is now?
No, I don't notice much of a shift. Certainly there's new faces from when I was here the first time, and I'm a new face for some of them, not a new face for some others. But I would say philosophically and schematically, in an identity way, it's very much what I remember. And I think the players would think that what I'm saying and what we're saying and what we're coaching is, similar to how it was the last couple of years. So I don't see a dramatic shift.
That's cool. And I didn't know if I necessarily expected it. It just, as an outside observer, the story or the talking point of having both you and Coach E leaving and coming back and kind of getting a glimpse of like, all right, what's changed, what's different, what's, what stays the same. I just, that to me is one of the most fascinating parts, I think, of this season coming up. So, Matt, should we jump into position groups, or how you want to do this?
Yeah. So let's go right here. We have our friend Brian Thompson, the Taco King from the FCS Fans Nation group. He does the taco bets. He's an NDSU fan, Coach, and he's a good guy. We don't hold that against him, I guess. But he says, let's not pretend that the October 25th game is not circled. What is SDSU's defensive backfield looking like to stop NDSU's wide receivers? We know about Bryce Lance up there and some of the other talented skill that they have. Who's going to be our guys in the secondary at corner? Let's start there.
Yeah, you bet. I think certainly, regardless of who you play, you need to develop a great plan. But the plan starts with people. It doesn't start with the plan. So, we got one game circled right now, and it's our first game. They're all important, but we certainly got a ton of respect for certainly everybody that we play, and they're going to provide different challenges. And the secondary group is probably the one where there's the most questions because maybe the fewest familiar faces in terms of reps over time and the chemistry that can create. A guy that stands out right away at the corner position is Miles Taylor. Miles was here when I was here the first time, and certainly has all the talent in the world. And to be honest, had a stretch last year where things didn't go his way. And when Coach Jackson came back and I came back, and he made the courageous decision to come back, and we challenged him and are supporting him to make it different this time around. And really from day one in January, he's grown and become a different person, different player, different leader, and the leader of that group. And so he's certainly going to be somebody that's going to make an impact. You talked about Jaden Oliver, transfer from Buffalo, and he's been so really just exciting to watch him. Certainly on the field, he is talented. He is long. He's a great football player. But how he's been able to, through his personality and through his experiences, come and lead in a place where he's just getting to know people. That's not easy to do, and it's not easy to do as a coach when you switch teams. You gotta. It's in some ways you're starting over, and he's done a really good job of that. Noah St. Juste has he's battled some injuries in the past and has just done an awesome job. Coach Stig would always talk about leaving nothing to chance, LNTC. And Noah has done an awesome job with like his body and just doing everything he can to stay healthy. And that's mostly off the field. Certainly in the training room, weight room, rehab, prehab, things like that, has been super productive for us. And Aiden Dotterman he was here when I was here before as well as a corner. And so just invigorating to just see how much he's grown in the last 2.5 years as a leader, and has been productive on the field. And Cody Cotton is a kind of the underdog story, undersized. He's super fast. He's been on special teams, will continue to be. He'll have a role. And Isaiah Johnson transfer from Bemidji, which Coach McClin had coached him in the past. So they had a relationship. He is similar to Jaden, done a great job of just buying in right away, becoming a part of the family. And our guys have done a great job accepting him in. So there's going to be a number of guys. I think people think of our defensive line as rotating a lot, and we will continue to do that. We believe in the power of being fresh in the fourth quarter. And when you're deep, you can do that. So you're going to not just see two corners out there all game long. So it starts with them, and then we'll develop a plan, certainly, to create variety in our coverages and do the best we can and play fast together.
Yeah. I liked, when I was there on Wednesday, I know Aiden, it was his first practice back in like live stuff. And he had 2 or 3 PBUs, big PBUs, whether it was in, the red zone one-on-ones or in the team series and stuff that I saw. And he just looked like he was having a blast out there. We know that he has been a special teams demon the last couple of years on punt, flyers, gunners, whatever you want to call them. And he seems like he's really excited and embracing that chance this year, that opportunity to be, in that rotation at corner. So excited for him.
For sure. And he had, as you mentioned, he came back this week. He had missed a couple weeks, and a lot of times, even on a short time away with there's some rust. And I think he got player of the day, like his first day back, like literally his first day back, which when he was able to participate in teams. So, but pretty cool deal there.
Yeah. Okay. I know you're not the safety coach anymore. But what about the safeties? And you introduced your staff when we had you on before spring ball. Can you tell us about Rob Armand? Is that how you say his last name, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been fortunate to this is certainly nothing against any staff that I've been a part of. I've been so blessed to be a part of great schools, great staffs. This is one of the best, if not the best, staff I've ever been around, top to bottom. And so I've been able to roam as a defensive coordinator, been in all the meeting rooms, been at all the individual sessions. And what that helps me do, we have very talented coaches that I learn from every day. I mean, they're invested teachers and mentors and just master their craft at their position. And they do a great job of motivating our guys, but they all haven't coached in our system before. So this allows me to be a better teacher to them, to be, to provide another voice in the meeting rooms. Is there a part of me that misses coaching a position and like the day in, day out, like just the brotherhood of one room? Certainly. But I know it's helped me get to know the whole defense better and build relationships with the whole defense. And to be honest, I'm kind of used to it after the last couple of years of being a head coach. You don't get that as much. And so that's been awesome for us. Coach Armand worked with Coach Jackson at Vanderbilt. And so that was the original connection. When I was at Winona, we actually tried to hire him. It was through Coach Jackson and recommended him. And he ended up taking an opportunity at another school, and it worked out where we were able to bring him here with us. So, which is it's been great because he's been able to devote everything in his soul to getting our safeties ready, and I'm still involved with them, but not tied to one position group. So he's a great teacher. He's young, energetic. Been great with their technique, and they got a tight relationship together. It's been fun to see him grow.
Good. Well, what about the guys in the room? You brought in a number of transfers. You had some guys switch positions. Dante's still there. It feels like he's been around forever too. So
yeah, you bet. It was cool. Dante's younger brother is going to college and playing football as a freshman, I believe, in Iowa at a small school in Iowa. And so his family came up today. I hadn't gotten a chance to meet Dante's parents because they weren't at the spring game, but got a chance to meet them. And Dante is what you kind of alluded to. He's becoming. We challenged him after last spring with basically be the man, like be the guy, be the leader, be the quarterback. And that's not to say that he's arrived and can just sit back, but he has done everything in his power to lead the secondary, lead the safety group. He's done a great job of making plays. He's incredibly gifted physically, fast, long, physical, smart, high character, leader. He's growing there where Dante's a really nice guy, but you've seen more of an edge about him on the field and keeping teammates accountable. And you got there's been so much growth, and I'm probably a little bit biased to the group because I did spend a lot of time with them in the spring before Coach Armand got here. Guys like Kobe Brett's transfer from Nebraska has just come just light years within the scheme, and he's probably physically the most gifted of the whole group when you just look at him. I mean, he reminds me so much of Isaiah Stahlberg. And part of it's probably because of the Nebraska thing, but it's also how he plays and how Isaiah plays. And so he's certainly a guy that's going to play a role. Jalen Lee, we moved from corner this winter and has great experience in the system and has done a good job learning safety and in some sub packages, playing the dime and the nickel like he's done in the past. And Noah Thompson, I actually recruited when I was here the first time out of Brandon. And I mean, he is like, he's your example of a guy that there's going to be guys that are bigger, faster, stronger. There just are. And he would say the same thing, but he's so smart, good communicator, leader, special teams guy, selfless. I mean, the whole room's selfless, but he's going to play a role on our team. And then Jason Tommy is a transfer from a Division II school in Colorado. Max Stannard was a freshman last year, and those guys are battling. So I just have so much more comfort in guys that if we played a game today, we're putting them in the game, and we're not taking a step back if something happens to one of our starters or rotational guys. Bergy, has come a long way.
Actually, talk a little bit more about that, because we've discussed here a bunch over the last few years. The depth at safety has been honestly a little bit startling because there's been injuries where in past years it would have just about ended the season and there was little to no drop off whatsoever. And that's something we talked about even early on when there was roster turnover and guys graduating and whatever else, that like, all right, we're going to find out how deep is this well, right? So can you just talk about what the competition level is like between some of those guys and how that's pushing them?
Yeah, you bet. I think the cool thing about competition is it really raises everybody's level, whether you want it to or not. There's guys that will welcome the competition. I think they're like a mature enough, like championship competitor where they want it and they need it and they know they're going to get better. There's guys that are going to shy away from competition a little bit, but at the end of the day, if they're going to compete, they're going to get better. The cool thing about this room, and you're right, there is depth there. And, we had guys leave and guys graduate. And, I knew all of them because I was in that room, and they're basically all here when I was here the first time. And you're able to see now that those guys that chose to stay, that are here with us now, they learned from, there's a bunch of good players. They learned from them. They took advantage of that opportunity to grow when maybe the spotlight wasn't on them. And, but right now, what's really cool in that room, because I would say maybe that room has like the least defined roles is maybe some other position groups, like in our minds as coaches right now. So that literally it is a battle every day for the reps that they get, the opportunities that they get. But they're so good at like they're battling each other but they're cheering for each other. Like they're helping each other when they come off the field. They're good friends off the field. But they have an understanding that regardless of who gets the start or whatever, like there's a cool special role for each of them if they make it that way. And
Nice.
that's a special room right there.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And that's something that I remember that you talked about before when you were here. And then Pete talked about the last couple of years, just how, the guys were just that funny dynamic of competing against each other, but being best friends and helping each other, coaching each other. And that's just a really interesting dynamic, I think, at a very competitive level like SDSU's at right now. So That's cool. Anything else for the safety group, guys? All right, let's talk about linebackers. Let's go there. And this group is interesting because it's all new. It's all new. What do we need to know? Who do we need to know?
Well, I'll start in the middle with Captain Joe Ullman. Joe has certainly had some great examples to look up to. And I don't know that there's a better example of like a selfless, intense competitor that's like a coach on the field. Joe is so smart, and he's able to recall, last year or 2 years ago, or how things have been said. And because some of that's important for me to know, okay, I obviously have great understanding of what we've done here and what we did. And, but things can get tweaked over time. And he's been so valuable there, but he is, when he's a no-brainer captain to me, and the team voted that way. And that's the type of guy. There is great comfort in the whole defense when his presence is there, in terms of making calls, making checks, just standing there. But Joe approaches it where he doesn't take that and say, well, I'm the starter. Joe comes and competes his butt off every day. And if it's a day where he doesn't get as many reps, or he's out in this sub package, or then he's like another coach on the field. And I played linebacker, so I have an understanding of the amount of mental things that go on with linebackers, because you're an integral part of the run fit and the pass fit, and you're in the middle. There's a lot going on. He's got great ability to take all that information, and is really smart, like a Bach, like a Roseboom. But he has something about him, like those guys did, to know what the important stuff was to be thinking about, so he doesn't clutter his brain too much, so he can just play. So he's not like an overthinker when he's out there, but he is very smart. So he's kind of a rock in that room. Cullen McShane has had an awesome spring, summer, fall camp. He is probably the most athletic out of the whole group. And he is a really cool story for him. And I know he wouldn't mind sharing. He's just found a renewed passion for the game. I don't know how many times he's told me how much he loves football, how much, how thankful he is for the opportunity to be back. He's just seeing football, an opportunity at SDSU and this brotherhood differently than he did maybe a year ago or 2 years ago. And that happens sometimes, but he'll play a key role at the Mike/Will position. Matt Gehring was a transfer from USF, and Bryce Johnson are also in there battling. Both very bright. Matt picked up the scheme really quickly. Bryce is like the most focused guy maybe on our whole team. And he is steady. He is focused. He knows what to do. And they all have different, skill sets. Bowden Schiller, young. He was a freshman last year, local kid that, he's learning both of those inside spots as well. And Casey Larson, a true freshman, has been getting more and more reps. So there's 6 guys in there that are taking meaningful reps. And at some point tomorrow at practice, all 6 of those guys through rotations and whatnot will be going against our number 1 offense. So there's some depth there that we're really excited about. And then the Sam position, Chase Van Tol, man, he might be. I don't know that there's a better like football player on our team. In terms of like making plays, fast, athletic. He plays with his hair on fire, but is like, but knows where the line is, and does just about. He has a good balance of knowing how much to think and how much to just play. He's been awesome to coach. Kite and Fife. If I were to pick the most improved player since January on defense, I might have said this before last time I was on. I think it's him. And he's playing both inside and outside. So he's playing Sam and Will and managing that. So I think that the battle there is real. But Chase is our starter right now.
So when you started out, Matt, you made a comment that this is the newest group, or I forgot what your wording was there. But okay, so yeah, in terms of starters, it's all new faces, but there's the fewest transfers as a percentage in this group of anywhere on the entire team. So
probably,
I think it is, but like easily, right?
Yeah.
So,
but then graduation too, right?
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just saying, but like, I mean, there's a lot of familiar names. It might have been a lot of special teams reps, guys that have filled in, in a series or 2 during games. So there's familiar names. But Bergy, I'm curious, what does that do as far as group dynamic? Having like basically all guys that have been around for at least a couple of years. Do you see any differences in that linebacker group versus any other groups in the building?
I don't know that I would see them different. I can say a lot of what I just said about the safeties with them, that they're battling with each other, but they're coaching each other. And I think average cultures have guys that they may say they want their teammate to be successful and they care, but like deep down, they're like cheering against them so they look better. I mean, that's just the reality of, human nature in some competitive, spheres. But I'm telling you the honest truth, because I get to be in all these meetings. I walk into the linebacker meeting and we have great coaches in Coach Busikist and Coach Lawrence coaching the linebackers. And probably half the time it's one of the players up on the board explaining something that they saw and teaching the rest of the room. I think that's good coaching for one, but it's good like peer leadership. And then like really taking young guys under their wing, because we have some special freshmen, and we haven't talked about a lot of the freshmen on that just have the blessing of learning from these guys. So, it's pretty special.
That's cool. And I'll admit too, part of the reason why I asked that question was I meant to ask how the transfer defensive backs were fitting in, but I didn't want to drag the conversation backwards. So I thought I would just try to frame it as a linebacker question. But
yeah, and to answer your question quickly, I think there's a difference, guys, in recruiting a high school kid and a transfer. One is obvious that they're older. They maybe have like proven experience on film in college. But the recruiting process is a much, much shorter window in terms of getting to know them and their fit. And what's made SDSU special for so many years, and give credit to, the guys that played here and Coach Stig and all the coaches that have been here, because this is just a byproduct of all those years. But what's made this place special is the culture, is the fit, is Brookings, is SDSU, is the family, and, Coach Stig's Jackrabbit way. And then, the brotherhood that we have now. And, but it's still 1-0 and it's still last play. And with transfers, you have to decide that quicker. I mean, watching the film's easy. Can they play or not? But then are they a good fit or not? You got to decide it in a much shorter window. So there is some inherent nervousness. I think anybody would say that you want to make sure they're a good fit. And I think, Jaden Oliver and Isaiah Johnson and Jamari Holloman and Jason Tommy and who else? Matt Gehring, the guys we've in the back end, EJ Blackshire, I can tell you every single one of them is a good fit. And now how much they play, we'll see. You hopefully get both, but we consider ourselves fortunate for that and the process that we go through, and that we get to coach at a place that people want to go to too. This is a national championship caliber program that people want to be a part of. There's high standards. So we're fortunate.
Yeah. And, I'm glad you asked about this, Dallas, because in my mind, like Joe, Bryce, Cullen, Chiton, they have spent 4 years together now, all together in that room. And it's easy for, someone like Matt Gehring to come in and them to be like, what the heck? Why are we bringing in another guy in our class? But I don't think I've seen a video yet where Joe and Matt aren't together, like in the videos, the drive-by interviews and stuff before and after practice and things like that. So it feels like, they've embraced bringing him in. And I think that's really cool in itself there too, because for those four, they've put in their time, they've paid their dues. And I could see where they may be resentful, but it doesn't seem like that's happening. And that's awesome. So that's the culture you're talking about.
Yeah, I think we're just big believers in recruiting, and and we tell our team this whether we're recruiting a high school student athlete or a transfer student athlete, it's our job as coaches to out recruit you. Like we're telling our team this. So Joe Ullman, it's our job that we find better players than you. And then it's your job to, when we bring in these better players, to not let them beat you out. And you have a leg up on them because you've been here. You're going to know more. But the longer they're here, obviously, the more chance they have to learn and beat you out. And championship caliber teams embrace that competition. They love it. And they know that it's win-win because we're going to get better. And this is the ultimate team game. And that's how you win. And if you got a bunch of guys that are concerned about new people that we bring in because they're worried for their own job, then I would question their competitiveness and I would question their love of football, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, and we saw that so much on our championship runs that when people get hurt, those other people are needed. Next man up is not just an empty phrase. It actually has meanings. We need those guys ready to go, ready to hit the ground running, not take that drop off because the next guy comes in. And that's what's helped us to win some of those extra games, to go from 7-4 seasons to, not losing a game. So
yeah. And the season is so long too, guys, when you think about when fall camp started until we plan on continuing to play until, but it's not just that, it's the off season and it's spring ball and it's summer. And so to your point, there's going to be injuries in football. There's going to be things that happen, and you need to have those guys ready. And that requires competition, and it requires reps, and it requires, to be honest, we're going to play more than 3 linebackers. We're going to play more than 2 safeties. We're going to play more than 2 corners also for that reason. So if something happens to somebody, the first time somebody's going in is not right when that guy got hurt.
Yep. Except for Zach Lujan situations, right? With him in Austin Sumner, Missouri.
Yeah.
All right.
Sometimes it's different.
Yeah. Right. Hey. Yeah. All right. We got to do a quick read here for Chad. I'm going to throw you a curveball. Last time we had you on, we didn't get your order from Culver's. I know you're a fitness guy. You're very healthy, Coach Bergy, but I got to know, when you go to Culver's, what's your order?
Okay. This is fitting because we have the burger eating contest, which has been going on for many, many years.
Yep.
We have that this week, actually. I'm
Nice.
not
We'd like to
gonna be
enter
in the
Dallas.
contest.
Who's your money's on? Who's your money on?
Our
Shane
freshman
Wellenbrink?
lineman.
Okay.
So that night I already know I'm just gonna get the regular cheeseburger, and then I like their chili. So I'm gonna get a burger and
There
chili.
it is again.
Yep. Okay, good. So the best burger and chili can be found at the Culvers of Brookings and Watertown. And so that's good. Stop in before or after the game, whatever you need to do. That's one of my favorite places to stop, as long as you can beat it before they close after the game to get in and get that Culvers for the road. That's funny you brought up the Culvers or the chili, because Ryan Howlett last year, the PA announcer. Have you got to meet Ryan yet, Coach?
I've met him, yeah.
Okay. So Ryan said, get the chili, Dave's famous chili or whatever it is, and put the cheese curds in there. Wasn't that it?
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. And he says it's awesome. Swears by it. So
I still have not tried it. And I eat Culver's like once a week. I got to do that.
Someone told us that they changed their order because of it. So yeah.
Since then, we've had more mentions of chili. So I don't know if we're just pushing chili for Culver's or what.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. And so our next question then, when you go to Cubbies, what are you getting at Cubbies?
One of two. I'm either gonna get their wings or the chislic.
Okay. Grilled? I'm assuming grilled.
Yeah. Grilled chislic, and then I've become more of a fan of like the dry rub wings. So I enjoy trying different flavors there. I like all types of wings, but
okay, cool. Also, we're sponsored by Cubby Sports Bar and Grill. I know they have their jacked up shirts coming out soon. Jacked up shirts that they release every year. One of my favorite things to get before the start of every season. So stop into Cubby's, get your shirts, get your chislic, and get your wings. Awesome. All right. Next up, we have the Chain Gang, and I am excited about this group. Coach, I did after practice on Wednesday. I came away very impressed with this group. Not just the starters. I think everyone knows the starters are going to be very, very good. But some of the younger guys the other guys that people don't know yet, we haven't got to see in Dana J. Dyko Stadium. I may have texted the group some pretty lofty expectations for this group for the season. What can you say about these guys that you get to see every day?
Well, I could sense it right when we got here in January that we knew this was going to be the strength of our defense. And I guess you can say that's something that as we were continuing to build in like 2019 and 20 and 21 and 22 and 23, and obviously kept getting better and better and better. I think as our D line went, as the chain gang went, so did the team. And it was very apparent that was going to be the strength of our defense. And I think you can tell by having two of three captains voted by the team, and Kobe and Logan, that's another reflection of their leadership. So take their play out of it. They're the strongest leaders on the team. They're the most bold. I would say they're like the boldest, most courageous competitors. They got the most energy. They probably have the most fun in their position room. There's just something about O-line meetings and D-line meetings. They just seem to have more fun with it. But when we talk about it starting up front, like we actually mean that. And it is players over plays. So the players that we have in that room kind of make things go. It doesn't matter how good a coverage you got or what you're doing with the disguise here, there. If you can't stop the run and be able to do it consistently without always having to blitz all the time, which starts with your defensive line, then it's going to be a long day. If you can't rush the passer and get some pressure and disruptions and some sacks without blitzing all the time, then it's going to be a long day. Like, we're going to play great offenses in our league and on our schedule, and you have to have variety. You can't. We're never just going to be a defense that doesn't have a plan, is unsound, and just relies on havoc and like we're going to create some of that, certainly. But it's more by how we do what we do than the actual scheme. And it starts with these guys. So guys like Kobe Claiborne and Logan Green and Reese Kirchman and Dawson Raperta, I'll put those 4 guys up against anybody's top 4 guys.
Mhm.
And that's from the bottom of my heart. And we believe in those guys. And so does our defense, and so does our offense, and so does Coach Jackson. Like you can just, there's a comfort when they're running out there. But as we've mentioned before, we're not just going to play 4 guys. There is not a more taxing position on your body than D-line in a game. I mean, they're all playing reps, but what they're asked to do and be violent and play a gap and rush a passer and apply force to just the biggest guys on the field and the O linemen, that takes a lot out of you. And so we're gonna play multiple guys, Aaron Wolf, Cale Holston, and Jace Syfor and Brody Targart and Kevin Spellman and Blake Leiferman, and like those guys they're going to be rolling too. And some younger guys, Nick Wells coming back from injury, and Sam Watts and Mac Muller, Rhett Schaefer, and that's not even talking about the freshmen yet, but that if any room needs to be deep, it's that one. There's 4 of them on the field at the same time. We're going to rotate. I mean, we think of ourselves having like a starting 8 to 10 guys. Like we don't have a starting 4. We're like starting 8 guys. And they're when you're at a football practice, you'll watch 7-on-7 where the D line's not there. And then you got team 11-on-11 where the D line is there. There is, and this isn't anything against the linebackers or the DBs, because they do it in different ways, but there is a different edge, a different confidence about our defense when we're playing team compared to other drills. And it's partly how they play, but it's more who they are. Those are winners and competitors there.
Yeah. I was really tuned in to the one-on-one pass rush, and when they line up 5 across from each other and stuff. And
best
Coach
part of
Belsky's letting them
any
go.
practice.
It was wonderful to
D-line.
watch. The battle between Rip and Quentin Christensen, and then Sam Hagan and Reese Kirschman was awesome. And then Kobe on the inside. Those guys on the inside are really coming along, those young interior offensive linemen. But Kobe, is just a different animal right now.
Mm-hmm.
It was just fascinating to watch. And then I think, can you just touch on how these guys complement each other so well on the inside, with Kobe, and then Logan Green? Can you just talk about those two and just why they work so well together?
Yeah, I think one, they both love football. They are competitors, and they love their team. They love the brotherhood. They take a ton of pride in like doing the dirty work. But this isn't a place where we're telling the D-line, hey, you do your job, you take on the blocks, and then the linebackers can do their thing. And like, D-line, your job is to take on 1 block, 2 blocks, double teams, kick out. Your job is to do that and make plays. And I think they've really bought into our philosophy here. That's really just been an extension of kind of what was being built. Like when Coach Christian Smith was here, and I was so like, on that defensive staff, Coach Rogers and myself and Coach Jackson and Coach Smith and Coach McCormick, our defensive line coach, worked with Coach Smith at Northwestern, and so spent, a ton of time with him. So that's been such a seamless transition. And Coach McCormick is an amazing coach, amazing person, and relational, but he knows how to coach D-line and get the most out of those guys. They respect him. And, but he also has a knowledge of what they've been doing too, dating back to, the late teens. And that's been really cool to see. And they're just so they're team first guys. So they complement each other by just doing their job. And it doesn't matter if it's D-line or any of the positions, guys. We don't focus on like, hey, Joe, you got to make plays, or hey, Kobe Bretts, you got to go make plays. No, whether you're Kobe or Joe or Bretts or Jaden Oliver at corner, your job is to do your job. And then while you're doing your job, when plays come to you, make the play. Because when you focus on making plays, you don't do your job very well. And then that gives up big plays. So when we talk about team defense, it's, hey, everybody just do your job, know what it is, how to do it, why we do it with everything you got, and plenty of plays will come to you. And I think they're bought into that. And it's certainly in the D line. So you take on a block, you play the B gap, and if the ball is anywhere near the B gap, you make the play. And really you do that at all the positions. And it's pretty cool when people buy into that, because it's such a selfless approach. And that's what we're built on here. And the D-line's got some young guys too, Daniel Bradley and Liam Shaw and Reggie and Sam on the inside, and really Luke and Maverick also. Like, there's some young guys that are just learning and just soaking it up. And I reminded our freshmen, and Andrew Price is another freshman at outside backer that's been playing. And I reminded him, like, hey, take advantage of these times where you're learning and maybe the spotlight isn't on you yet. Or Miles Green, he was an early enrollee corner. So I feel like he's a sophomore, even though he's a freshman. Man, how cool is this? You get to learn where maybe all the pressure isn't on you yet, but you're being put in these situations. And that's a tough transition sometimes, to be the guy in high school and then come and maybe be at the bottom of the depth chart. But that's a blessing, because most of these guys also started at the bottom of the depth chart.
So I know that it's going to be second nature for a coach to want to talk about everybody, but is there any of these younger guys that you can point to and say that maybe we're going to get caught off guard, or we're not expecting to see them make splashy plays, but we're going to do that this year?
Yeah, I think Daniel Bradley at D-line, Casey Larson, inside backer, Andrew Price at Sam.
Nice.
Miles Green at corner. If I were to pick kind of one at each position, we certainly believe in all of them, and they're all going to be like the guys we're talking about in a year or two. Just that's a natural progression of it, right? But those would be a couple guys that I would not be surprised to see. But in reality, guys, I think in today's age of college football, you're going to see more freshmen play. One, because of the rule, you can play in 4 games in the playoffs and keep your red shirt. That's not different. But 2, I just think you're going to see more in college football of you got to play the best guys right away. And I say that just being truthful and honest, and we're not afraid to push talent and youth past experience if the young talent can be better, because that makes us better. We're so different here. It's weird for me to think of it this way, that we're a college football program and we're going to recruit high school kids and some transfers, but we're going to want them to be here for 4 or 5 years and develop, and we're going to run a program. We don't want to be the type of a team that's like, okay, how are we going to win this year? And then we'll get a bunch of transfers and then we'll worry about next year. But college football, and the way the rules are, and you just got to get the most out of guys while they're here. So we're going to make sure that our scheme is teachable and learnable, and whether it's a transfer coming in, and like take Jaden Oliver, for example, he got here in the summer. So you got to have a scheme that can't take a year to learn. You got to learn it in the summer. And it's the same thing for the freshmen. It's our intention that they all come in with the expectation to play.
Mm-hmm. So can we get back to defensive line real quick? And I know, not asking anybody to pick a favorite kid or anything, but Reese has always stood out to me. And I'm curious if you can talk about, honestly, and this is just my opinion as an outside observer, somebody that's played the position a little bit, I really like what he brings. I think he has an extremely high ceiling. Can you maybe talk about that a little bit and what you think he could get to? Because I just basically, I'm wondering if I'm right in my assessment.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. Reese is a special competitor. Reese can play a lot of football in his life. He has those tools to, chase a championship here and then keep playing football after here. What's cool about Reese is he certainly has physical skill and blessed with some genetics and size, but he works his tail off in the weight room, and he's smart, but he has this unique. He's got a great ability to use his smarts, but he plays free and loose, and he has fun, and he probably smiles more than any of them. And when I think of somebody that plays like football with joy, like not in like a soft like way at all, but like just a gratitude and like an energy and never going to get too low, like kind of know what you're going to expect. A guy having fun playing ball with his buddies, it's him. And because of that freedom that he plays with, like he really, I think, is going to get the most out of his physical ability. And that's not to take anything away from his ability. Like he is gifted and he works at his craft, and he's gotten a lot bigger too. So he's able to take on a lot more. Special kid, special player.
Cool. Thank you.
Coach, one question, and just because this kind of relates to something I saw on Wednesday. I tweeted about this, but I just thought it was super cool. 10 minutes after practice, 20 minutes after practice, Nate Adams is still out working, and he's the offensive line transfer from Stephen F. Austin. And he wasn't working just with the young guards or young tackles. He actually had some of your young defensive ends over and was talking to them and kind of showing some technique things from a tackle thing that maybe they should pay attention to, is what it looked like to me. Is that unique? Do you have an experienced offensive lineman who's a transfer that's coaching or helping, this after practice type of stuff? Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I do think it's unique. I do think it's special. I think a lot of places, I think bad teams have nobody stay after practice. I think average teams to good teams will have like position group guys help younger players or help each other within their position group. I think the best teams have a chemistry about them, and that's one of Coach Jackson's emphasis for our team, and is chemistry, is reps together. It's a cohesion of our team. And it's also one, like defensively, our fall camp goals revolve around culture, chemistry, and confidence. And part of chemistry is just working together, but it's also sharing knowledge. So we're doing more and more like teaching football from like a big picture, like in team meetings, we'll have offensive guys teach the defense, like what things give things away, or how can I help our defense by sharing this? Or it's really hard when you do this, and vice versa. Our defense does it for our offense. So I think what you saw with Nate, first off, Nate is incredibly mature, awesome. I mean, he's old and he's mature and he's played a lot of football.
We always joked that he was like the pitcher in the Little League World Series that's like 6'3" and has a shadow from shaving.
Yeah, like I thought when Nate was here on his visit, like he came on a visit as a transfer recruit. I thought he was somebody's dad, like standing on the side. He's just like a mammoth of a man and
full beard
and a huge beard. And then I was like, oh shoot, that is him. But I think what you're seeing is chemistry being built on our football team, and Nate being mature enough to say, these guys have potential. I could help them maybe even in a better way sometimes than a veteran D lineman could, because I'm seeing it from the offense. And but to go back to your first question, that is unique. And that's one of the things that makes this brotherhood special, because that's happening every day in some way.
That's really, really cool.
One thing I was hoping to talk about or have you touch on is the other captain on the D line is Logan Green, and maybe hasn't got a lot of the spotlight over the years, but I'd hope that you could talk about him a little bit and help our fans get to know Logan a little bit and what he brings.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're fortunate, certainly with Kobe and Logan there. And Logan he might be one of the steadiest guys on our team in terms of like, you literally know every day what type of mood Logan's going to be in, the effort he's going to bring, not too high, not too low. There's no fluff. There's no beating around the bush. He's going to say it how it is. And he's going to do it out of like the best place in his heart. He's genuine. In terms of the value any one person brings to the defensive line, which is hard to say because it's such a team, and especially it's such a unit. I think both O-line and D-line, you need to do it together. But, man, he is valuable. I'll just say it that way. He is he's gonna bring everything that he's got. And he has the ability to call people out and be blunt and then be there picking them up and encouraging them the very next rep. And he's a really gifted player, and he's going to take on double teams, and he's going to split double teams and make plays and tackles, and super bright, ask great questions. I mean, the questions that some of these guys ask Coach McCormick in meetings are like high football IQ questions. And he's certainly done that, and he has had great guys to learn from. Just and credit him for, when Kobe transferred in a couple of years ago, credit him for accepting Kobe in at that time, and they're that tight now because of the relationship that they've been building.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Coach, we kept you an hour here. Thank you very much for your time you gave us in the spring. And also just now, really appreciate it. So if you guys, Dallas chat, anything else?
Nope, I'm good. I can't wait to see this defense on the field.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Can't wait. August 30th, going to get here soon. So, all right. We will have another show next week. Ryan McKnight is planning on hopping on with us. And that's just going to be a mailbag episode where if you have questions, we're going to take a lot of questions. So,
mailbag and special teams.
Oh, yeah. Special teams too. Yes, you're right. Specials. Thank you.
Yep.
Specials are important.
Great. All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This was great. Thank you, Coach Bergy, again. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Go big. Go blue. Go
Jacks.
Go Jacks.